I'm your host Peter Taylor. Welcome to Turnpoint Theatre's third week of Tickle and Scratch, a free weekly online showcase presenting new work from across the globe, performed to you in the comfort of your own home. Tonight, we will be presenting 6 pieces around the theme of bad habits, which were selected by our panel of judges. So, let's get straight into it. First up, we have Habitual Tendencies by Marchant, performed by Jess and Jenni Quinn. Maddie drinks a lot. Maddie smokes a lot. It's not quite the behaviour you'd expect from a nun, but there's more to it, I'm sure. Enjoy.
What?
Nothing.
No. What?
You know what?
No. What?
Nothing.
I know what.
Why ask then?
Don't judge me, okay?
It is only just noon.
So?
How many times so far today?
I'm not keeping count.
I am. 3.
3's not much.
3's too much.
So judgmental.
Just mental.
You can't say that. It's a slur.
You cannot lecture me about what's inappropriate. Look at you.
Fuck off.
Classy.
I mean, why do you care? Why do you actually care? Why does it bother you?
It's wrong. It's wrong, and you can't see it because you're too far gone.
Nobody's getting hurt.
Not yet. But you're heading down a slippery slope and you can't see what you're doing to yourself, but it will come back and bite you in the arse.
I've got a handle on it.
3 times so far today, and I lost count at the weekend. It's a problem, Maddie. You have to accept that.
Except, it's not a problem.
I was like you know, when I was 15. For me, it was Beanie Babies. I had to get them. I was part of that craze. I was obsessed. I would do anything, go anywhere, spend anything. One time, took a train up to Edinburgh just to collect this snow leopard one. Saved up my pocket money. Lied to my mum that I was staying round at a friend's. Then I took the 600-mile round trip. I don't even know where that is now. I just know that one day I woke up and I looked at the side of my room and I saw all these beady eyes staring back at me, and I thought, why the fuck have I got these? So I know what it's like to deal with an unexpected addiction.
Sorry. What?
What? You're addicted. You do know that you're addicted, right?
Bollocks.
It's not normal to do what you do as often as you do it. It's not normal to do what you do.
What's normal? Don't be so holier than thou, it's offensive. Am I the only one drinking here?
Of course not. Stop doing it.
Why do you care?
I care about you.
It's not a problem.
It is.
No.
You know it is.
No.
Tell me.
No.
Tell me.
Sometimes I think I want to stop. Sometimes I see myself like an out-of-body experience, and I don't know who that person is, and how do I stop?
Just get rid of it, for a start.
I get respect. I get a seat on the bus. People talk nicely to me. I get free coffee. I get smiles. When did you last get smiles from strangers? I get people singing "The Hills Are Alive." I love that. I join in. I get noticed.
Maddie, you're not a nun. You're not even religious. A raging alcoholic, yes. A chronic chain smoker, yes. But a liar. That's not you, is it?
That's all of us. Or have you forgotten the Edinburgh sleepover?
You can't keep doing it. You have to stop.
I know. Or
What?
I could get you a wimple too.
Well, that nun certainly has a bad habit. I'm so proud of that one. It's great. Anyway, next up we have Smoke and Mirrors by Tasmin Pinder, performed by Jasmine Horn. Smoke and Mirrors explores the psychology of the smoker, whose every puff takes them back to a nostalgic trip to happier times. Enjoy.
It's not as if I'm oblivious to those pictures on the packets, the festering wounds, rotting lungs, diseased fetuses. I get it. Smoking causes cancer. I get it. And I've tried to quit again and again and again. The chewing gum, nicotine patches, hypnotherapy, I have tried it all. But I was born to smoke. My father smoked. My father's father smoked. My father's father's father smoked. I come from a long line of smokers. It's in my genes. And whatever they tell you about how disgusting, how unhealthy, what a vile habit it is, there is simply nothing like that first cigarette in the morning. Black coffee, 2 sugars, and a cigarette. It frames the day. It sets you up for the day. I don't smoke cigarettes. Rollies. That's my thing. So it's healthier. You don't get all that crap in them. It's purer. I love the ritual of rolling cigarettes. The feel of the slight moisture of the tobacco between your fingers as you pack it down in the paper. Put in the filter, roll between your fingertips and lick across the edge. Like a secret scroll. Like a little parcel. Takes me back to my school days, outside the bus stop. Furtively puffing away, filling my 12-year-old lungs and feeling the nicotine hit, before chucking the evidence into the wet gutter, and then frantically chewing on a stick of Wrigley's Double Mint before my mum's red Fiesta turned the corner. She picked me up to take me home. And as I smoke, it takes me back to the stone steps outside a sixth form college, with blonde-haired, big-titted Miranda, who never had a lighter and bummed cigarettes off me every single morning from September 1998 to July 2000. Miranda. I should have made a move. It's my mistake. I regret that. Smoking, it makes you friends. Smoking, it's a social thing. And when I smoke, I'm back in my bedroom. And it's the morning after. After her. And especially her. The things that happen with her. First year of uni, the halls of residence, my ceiling stained yellowish brown despite my efforts to lean out the window. Evidence of misdemeanors. So, if I smoke, please just forgive me that last indulgence in these trying times. It's who I am. It's a magic mirror when I fill my lungs. And it takes me out of the present and into alternate realities. Happier ones that disappear when I put my cigarette out in the plant pot. The memories disappear like a puff of smoke, and then I'm back to reality. I look in the mirror and I tell myself, tomorrow. I'll quit tomorrow.
For real though, smoking does kill. Just saying, it's not actually a joke. Generally, it's just science. Anywho, next up we have Flies by Judy Upton, performed by Gabriel Burke. Flies was inspired by a dirty habit many people seem to have of leaving rubbish behind after attending mass gatherings. If you can so thoughtlessly dump your trash, what else might you leave behind? Enjoy.
Snow in June. That's what it looked like. A whole park covered in snow, glistening in the early morning sun. It was a pretty picture, well, until I parked and opened the door of my truck. That's when the smell hit me, and I could hear the buzzing of flies. It was a hot day, but I was glad of my hazmat, mask and gloves. I started by sending a few photos to my team leader. It's no good, you expecting me to clear the slot on my own. If one litter picker and a few bin bags is all you can spare, I'll probably be here till Christmas. We're overstretched at present, he replied. But I have the same problem in parks and squares across the borough. Just do what you can. He put up a thumbs up emoji too. As I gazed over the vast sea of rubbish, a thumbs up didn't seem very appropriate. They should be sending a bulldozer to clear this stuff. Push it into one huge stinking mound that can be picked up by a mechanical shovel and dropped into a lorry. Still, I was here, and I might as well make a start. The cardboard of beer boxes, the still intact bottles and cans are easy enough to pick up. Not so the thousands of tiny, shiny gas canisters, glinting like diamonds in the grass. There are tiny plastic bags too, some still containing a powder or a pill. Is this what the Prime Minister meant when he told people to go out and enjoy themselves in parks and squares? They could stay all day now if they wanted. Though many people seem to think that meant all night too. Of course, nobody said anything about leaving behind as much litter as you like. But then it was a bit like stockpiling toilet rolls. No one had told people to do that either. Funny thing was, I was only 2 steps in the park's boundary and I had already picked up 2 toilet rolls. Whether they had been used or not, I didn't want to know. "Excuse me," said a voice. A young woman stood there, in apron, mask and gloves. "Do you mind if I help? I mean, I thought I'd come down here and volunteer to help." "You're welcome to join if you want," I shrugged. "But you're from the council, aren't you?" "Well, yeah, my company has the contract to clear the park," I explained, rather unnecessarily. The intensity in the pair of brown eyes above her mask was making me nervous. I sometimes get tongue-tied around women. I can't help it. "Okay, only I don't want to take somebody's job. I mean, if you're being paid to clear up." I laughed at that and reassured her there was plenty of rubbish to go around. "You'll need an army of litter pickers a week to clear, I reckon." I meant my reply to be, light-hearted. Her shoulders slumped and she sighed. "It's hopeless. It's completely hopeless," she said. "Why do people do it? Why?" I got back to the job at hand. I don't really understand why people have started gathering in such huge crowds at night. There was an outdoor rave a couple of streets away from my flat last weekend. The thud of the bass kept me awake all night. Perhaps if I was a more social person, had more friends here, I'd be desperate to go out to meet them, have a laugh, have a drink, forget all about the pandemic for a few hours. Maybe if my life was full of fun and laughter, I'd be desperate to get back to that sort of normality. But it wasn't, and I'm not. My fellow litter picker is called Pearl. She recently lost her job in a cafe. It was a place that was socially responsible, she said. Well, clearly not responsible enough to furlough its staff. I felt like saying, but didn't. As we continued to clear up, she started talking about plastics getting into the sea and the food that we eat. I told her I knew about that. I'd seen Blue Planet. I'd taken this job because it was the only thing I could get, but it didn't mean I didn't care about the environment. I'd be glad if I was making a difference. I hope I'm making a difference. Well, if we clear the litter away, and one daisy springs back up, or one dandelion flower, and we help one bee or one butterfly get a meal, then we'd have done good here today, Pearl decided. I smiled behind my mask. That was a good way of putting it. We needed something to keep us motivated. She said that sometimes when she was out litter picking, she would listen to music to motivate herself. She even had a litter picking playlist. But talking to real people, as she put it, was even better. Unfortunately, knowing that Pearl was enjoying chatting to me made me run out of things to say. We continued in silence, moving further apart. Occasionally I glanced over at her. I pulled down my mask to offer a sympathetic grimace as she bagged up a whole disposable barbecue, cremated burger still congealed on its top. I cleared a little patch of grass, but I couldn't see any of Pearl's bees or butterflies taking advantage of it yet. There were masses of flies though. Green ones, like emeralds, as they feasted around the trees, and the piles of human waste left there. I'd have to get the detergent spray from the truck later, skip up all the shit and put them into dog bin bag sacks for specialist disposal. I sent my boss a few more photos though, in the hopes of shocking him into sending reinforcements. The lucky sod is still working from home. I hope it put him off his breakfast. A few cars were arriving in the car park now. People getting out with dogs and kiddies, then taking one horrified look or sniff and driving off. A jogger passed by, taking what was probably his usual route, oblivious to the broken glass underfoot. A horrified shout from Pearl made me rush to her. I stumbled through beer cans to reach her side. In the midst of the garbage, there was a body. A teenage girl, wearing a shiny green party dress, curled up and unmoving. Oh my God, is she? I knelt beside the girl, pushing the greasy hair out of her eyes. Her eyes were closed, but I could see she was alive. She's alive. Colin, I have. Pearl crouched by the girl and gently touched her face. Hey, are you all right? The girl made some kind of moaning sound. Hey, said Pearl, it's going to be okay. The girl half opened her eyes, then suddenly started to sit up. She cried out, staring at her hand. She had leant on a shard of broken glass which had drawn blood. No, don't try to stand. The ambulance is coming, it's okay. Confused, the girl still tried to stand. There was no stopping her, but her legs gave way as she was halfway up and she tumbled back down. Steffi? Laura? Wild-eyed, the girl looked about her. Where's Steffi and Laura? Where? She put a fumbling hand down the top of her dress and brought out her phone. Her hand was unsteady and seemed not to remember how to work it. Then, Steffi! She screamed into it. Steph, where are you? Where you've been, Steph? It seemed she was only getting an answer message. She looked up, looked at me. "What time is it?" About 8:30. "Where am I?" I told her, and she swore to herself. "Where are my friends? Where is everyone?" She looked from me to Pearl. They kind of gone." Then she tried to get up again. "No, don't. Take it easy," soothed Pearl. We heard an ambulance. I told Pearl I'd walk out to the main road and guide the ambulance in. We watched in silence as the ambulance left with the girl inside. She didn't expect her friends to have left her here, Pearl said. "I mean, you wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't imagine they could abandon you like that. Like a single-use barbecue or an empty six-pack." Her eyes looked shocked, and she nodded. "No, you wouldn't expect that." I could have said something, but I didn't. I could have told her of all the people that have abandoned me, discarded me from their lives when times had gotten hard. I've had 2 jobs where I thought all my workmates were my friends, but none of them kept in touch after I was made redundant. There were friends I made at school, friends for life, I thought, and now they don't even recognise me if we pass while doing the shopping. It's not just rubbish people discard. It's dogs, it's cats, it's the occasional baby, and it's friends. Most of all, it's friends. Of course, I didn't say any of this to Pearl. I mean, you don't, do you? Can you imagine if someone started talking like that? What would you think? Weird? Loner? Oddball? It's not as if I can't deal with it. I am able to do it now. By keeping myself to myself mostly. Not letting people get too close. And I'm not talking about the 1 meter rule. "You know," said Pearl, "maybe when this COVID thing's over, you and I should go for a coffee. You know, meet up for a chat in more positive circumstances." I told her I'd like that, and I scribbled my email on a scrap of paper. I knew she was only being polite. She'd forget. She had a life and friends. She wouldn't be in contact. And that was fine. That was completely fine. "Look, Mark, a butterfly," said Pearl. The insect had landed on a beer can in front of us. It was opening and closing its wings in the sun and seemed to be drinking the sticky remains of the beer. "It's a red admiral," she said. "My favourite." For a moment, a brief moment, I wouldn't have been anywhere else. Just standing with a woman, watching a butterfly in the middle of a sea of litter. Life catches you by surprise like that sometimes.
Seriously, it is one of the worst things when you're going out on a walk and seeing a load of rubbish in a park. That and a load of dog poo. And stepping on it. It's the worst. Next up, we have Driving Me Crazy by Phil Taylor, performed by Lindsey Cross and Ashley Shiers. All relationships need to be worked at, some a little bit more than others. A bit of give and take can be easier for certain types than it can be for others. Listen and enjoy.
Oh, can you pass me my sunglasses? It's getting very glary.
Not whilst you're in the outside lane.
Okay, I'll pull in. That okay?
Do you always have both hands at the bottom of the steering wheel?
On the motorway when it's not busy. Yeah, I do.
Slow down a bit then.
Can't go much slower.
Can take your hand off the gear lever, you know. Perhaps you should think about getting an automatic.
I like a manual gear change.
So much that you can't stop fondling the thing.
Have you got me sunglasses now?
Yes, but what a mess. I don't think they've been cleaned since the millennium. Give me a minute to sort it. Are they varifocals?
Yes, Same prescription as my ordinary glasses.
When did you last get your eyes checked? You know there is a family history of glaucoma.
I think it was last year.
I'm not sure it was. I bet it was at least 3 years ago. You know you are supposed to go every year.
I'll book an appointment tomorrow. Now, can I have my sunglasses, please?
Here. Do they protect against UVA and UVB?
I've no idea, but as we get so little sun in Manchester, I don't think it matters very much.
I'm noticing you're hunching a little bit over the steering wheel. It can't be doing your back any good.
Maybe I'm not as relaxed as I should be.
Straighten up a bit. There, that's much better. Did you shave this morning?
No, it's called designer stubble.
It's got no designs on me. With your complexion, I don't think it suits you. Better to shave every morning. Did you have that shirt on yesterday?
I wore it for an hour in the pub in the evening. I thought it'd be alright for today. It's 100% cotton, it keeps me cool.
You've got more shirts than the Manchester United squad combined. I don't think a clean one this morning would have been too much of an encumbrance.
I did change my underwear and socks.
When?
Last week. Only joking.
I don't like the sound of that. You haven't got a temperature, have you?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact. A quite normal one.
I'll assume that is fine. Did you floss this morning?
I used the electric toothbrush.
But did you floss?
I forgot.
Things are slipping a bit, it seems. Watch that car in front. It seems to be wavering a bit.
I do have control over the brake and accelerator.
Good to know. And how often do you check the rearview mirror?
Usually when I want to change lanes, or if I think the driver behind me is attractive.
What happens to your concentration if there is an attractive driver behind?
I drive very carefully to impress them, of course.
With what aim in mind?
A smile as they pass.
Forget to floss on too many mornings and that cheesy smile will disappear. Stained teeth or dentures will be the order of the day.
I have a toothpick in the glove compartment.
Well, don't get it now. It will lessen your concentration. Besides, I don't think anybody finds someone with dirty fingernails sexy.
I was gardening yesterday. It's hardly surprising.
You could have used a nail brush. Pull into the inside lane. We come off at the next junction.
I think I need to stop on the slip road.
For what reason?
I need to make a call. I can never remember if I'm RAC or AA.
I know. I can ring.
Look, Tina. I know it stands for Truth Instructed Automaton, but we have a problem here. I'm going to suggest some radical changes to your programming.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh dear.
I don't know if any of you guys do this, but I named my sat-nav Doris. Don't know if that's sad or normal. Probably both. Next up we have Sister Act by Anya King, performed by Abby Hooper. Sister Act deals with domestic violence from the point of view of a witness. Like many of Anya's recent works for the stage, it's based on real events lived by ordinary women, and it's a fragment of her larger project called Common British Births. Enjoy.
I know what you're thinking, she says, and you're wrong. It's 2 a.m. and I'm halfway through putting myself in a t-shirt to open the door. And what I'm thinking is, your teeth! Jesus fucking Christ, your teeth! Your fucking teeth! The bottom half of her face is black and blue and big and bulging. Her mouth is this crusty, bloody, toothless, red and black hole. My sister. Oh, your teeth. Your face. It's not as bad as it looks. Do you know how bad it looks? It was an accident, she says. An accident. She's speaking with no teeth. Well, go on then. Tell me. And I sit there like a child, waiting for a story. We were camping, she says, in Keith's van along the coast. And oh, it was lovely. There were the stars and a lantern, and we had a bit to drink and smoke. We had quite a bit to smoke, but you know Keith. I know Keith. Well, I woke up and I needed to pee, and it was dark and I was drunk, and I fell off the back of the van and I smashed my face and my teeth into the tow bar thing. She pauses for breath, which hisses through the shards of her shuttered teeth. The tow bar thing. Yeah, I know. Stupid. Classic me, she says. What am I like, eh? Her teeth, her jaw, her nose, her cheekbone, her left eye and her ear. Looks like the earring's been torn out, her wrist, her palms. And that's just what I could see. Suddenly I'm looking for too long, and before I get a chance to speak, defence. You know, Keith's been amazing, actually. He took me to Aine, and he stayed with me the whole time. And we both know why. And her swollen box of black eyes dared me to say it. And then, attack. Well, thanks. Thanks very much. My own sister thankfully believes in me. Not. You know, no one gives Keith a chance. They just see his tattoos and his piercings and it's prejudice. You're a snob. You know that. He went to private school, Gail. He left in a police car. You don't know him. Oh, but I do. You don't know how funny he is, how kind, how gentle. I know that she has lost 2 jobs, 2 stone, and all her money in a year and a half. She's lost her flat, her driving lessons, her friends. My smart, sassy sister. I wouldn't have minded, really, if he looked like Tom Hiddleston, or was rich, or was a talented but troubled artist or musician, just something. But he's 40 and he looks like a lizard. His first wife is missing, and his second wife is not allowed to come into 50 miles of, or his kid. You're just jealous, you know that. Because I'm happy and with someone and you're not. I'm sorry, I say. And I hug her carefully. She goes to fall asleep next to me like when we were kids. Kind of snoring through a busted nose. Please don't tell Mum, she mumbles. And I won't. Again. Does that make me a good sister? Or a bad sister?
And now for our final piece. We have Honey at the Bottom by Zoe Miller, performed by Luke Baldwin. Seth recounts the unusual events that happened to himself and his family after his mother's sudden death. Enjoy.
Life is bitter, but there's honey at the bottom. My mother used to always say that to me and my little sister Esther. It sounds inspirational and life-affirming to people who didn't know my mother. And people assume it means that sweetness that's worth living for, despite all the badness in the world. My mother meant that after the long suffering of life, we are released into the sweet, dark quiet of death. Back into the fold of God, away from all the troubles of the world. Mother died when I was 9. Esty was 4. And she didn't directly kill herself. Not with razors or rope or pills or any of those things where you can look at a body and say, yes, that is definitely a suicide. Right there. Instead of those active forms of suicide, she committed it more passively. She retreated to her bedroom for a week and refused to eat or drink. And then at the end of the week, she had a seizure and died. I don't know why my father didn't stop her. I know he was sad when she died. I know he cried as he held her dying in his arms. Maybe he just didn't know how to help. We buried her in September 1964. I remember picking up my little handful of grave dirt, so worried that I would drop it or do something wrong, and letting it fall it down into the grave, down onto the dark wooden box where my mother rested. Her body is down there. I thought, and I remembered how good to felt to hug her. Her soft and comfortable early in the morning. Mummy? Good morning, Mummy. Esty didn't understand what was going on. We helped to pick up the dirt, but she didn't understand what she was supposed to do with it. Why? My father's bluishly pale face tightened in impatience. We covered the mirrors in black curtains. I asked my father why we covered the mirrors. He said it's so you don't look at yourself. This isn't about you and your reflection, it's about your mother. I felt looking the black cloth hanging over the mirrors that it was less about the symbolism of looking at your reflection and more about mirrors as portals. If we didn't cover them, maybe we could gaze back upon the other side of the gale, where my mother lived now. Maybe she could gaze back at us. Thought made me shiver as my father covered the bathroom mirror. It glinted silver before it was hidden out of sight. I went back to school after a week away. I was good at English and history and was still good after my mother's death, but gave up entirely on maths and science, which I'd never been good at and couldn't muster the energy to care about anymore. I'd sit idle in class, gazing out the window. One day, a few weeks after my mother's death, I noticed the girl in front of me in math class taking out a little makeup travel kit. It was full of colourful packed powders on the bottom and a tiny mirror on the top, and came with a stubby little applicator brush. The girl gently dabbed pig pigment on her eyelids and quickly stuck the makeup inside the desk before our teacher could notice. When the class ended, she left for some reason without retrieving the makeup. I was a somewhat flamboyant child. I liked Marilyn Monroe and cried when she died, not with a hot-blooded lusty grief of a young romantic admirer, but because I'd lost an idol and a role model. I love makeup, but I knew better than ever to ask for it and never tried it on. I took my opportunity. I stuck around until most everyone had left the room, grabbed the makeup kit from the empty desk, stuck it deep within my backpack and fled like hellhounds were on my heels. I took my scavenged prize out to the greenbelt near our suburban home, where dead leaves coated the forest floor. I opened it, dabbed on a little bit of purple, and promptly got some in my eye. Crap, I muttered, and dabbed my inflamed eyelids, smearing the makeup messily around. Then I remembered that mirrors are dangerous when someone has died. They are gateways to the other world, the dark underside. My stomach felt suddenly hot with shame and fear, gazing into the mirror, trying to rub away the purple chalk. I swear that for a split second, I saw my mother's dark eye look back at me. The walk home scared me. I felt on edge and too hot, radioactive with the wrongness of my mother's eye inside the mirror. No one seemed to be around. There was no sound but the wind and rustling leaves. I got home. My father sequestered upstairs. Esty was playing a pretend game with her soft toys in the living room. Walking past her, I heard her say, "Honey at the bottom."
And there you have it. That was our third show of Tickle and Scratch. Thank you so much for watching the show. Thank you to all the performers, the writers, and the directors who also worked on this piece. We really appreciate the time that you put into it. We are taking a short break, but we will be back on October the 8th. If you enjoyed watching the performances this evening, then give the video a like and help share it around to many people to help share the creative joy. That's all from us here at Time Point Theatre, but until then, I've been your host, Peter Taylor. Take care, stage safe, bye.